Now, Christmas Vacation, 1989 holiday
Holiday
review.
season, so whoop-dee-doo and dickory-dock.
All right. Don't forget to put on your sock. What's the synopsis here, Nick?
The Griswold family's plans for a big family Christmas predictably turn into a big disaster.
Nice. That's succinct. I think you
Mhm.
get the point across. It kind of
Yep.
leaves you wondering what kind of disasters go on in this Christmas big family.
Yes, it does.
This is directed by Jeremiah S. Chechik, and written by the acclaimed John Hughes, starring Chevy Chase as Clark Griswold, Beverly D'Angelo as Ellen, Juliette Lewis as Audrey, Johnny Galecki as Rusty, John Randolph as Clark Sr., Diane Ladd as Nora, E.G. Marshall as Art Smith, Doris Roberts as Frances Smith, Randy Quaid as Cousin Eddie. We have Miriam Flynn as Cousin Catherine, and Cody Berger as Rocky Johnson here. I actually don't even know who that is.
Rocky is Eddie's kid, but his son.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe I cut it off a little early there, but that's enough people.
Well, either way, this hauled in $74.5 million domestically on a $25 million budget, and obviously this came back in '89, so that $74.5 million carries even more weight. Featured an 11.7 million opening weekend. On IMDb right now, it's got a 7.5 out of 10 with a 70-86 split on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.6 out of 5 on Google reviews, with 91% of Google users liking this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a domestic only release. It got re-released internationally, I think during COVID, and it pulled in like $12,000 internationally. So
Wait, really?
the antics, yeah.
Huh.
It's been released in theaters a couple of times. I think it's made like a couple more million, stateside on the re-releases here. Just if you want to go have a nice little holiday feature film in the movie theater,
Yeah, smart. Get it like just even if you did like discounted tickets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, a little nice tidbit there. What's your score and tweet length review?
So this gets an 81 out of 100 for me. I'm blown away by how this movie has held up while still painting an accurate picture of that era.
I like that. I give this an 87 out of 100. This was a Christmas classic that I never fully watched. A Christmas Vacation has a perfect blend of wholesome Christmas fun and edgy comedy to appeal to the whole family. Two thumbs up.
Yeah, it's this was a pleasant surprise for me rewatching this because again, it's been a long time for me since I'd given it a look.
Well, yeah, so this hops right into our exit survey questions here. Is this in your Christmas rewatch rotation? And if so, how high up is it?
So, I felt bad. I forgot that this was the first question that we have. But I think now going forward, this will be in consideration more often for me. Whereas in the past, it's like it comes up in my head and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing Christmas Vacation. I don't have any desire. But now I think because I'm older and we're so far away from, and obviously, like, look, 89, I was born in 89, but this still has that feel from when I was a kid, like that. It feels very familiar, and it feels like stories I've heard from my dad. It's like all this stuff. It feels familiar. So I think now it'll be in conversation at least when the missus and I convene about Christmas movies at this time of year in the future.
Yeah, no, I agree. Typically it hasn't been. I'd always, like I said off the top, I'd always catch portions of it on television, but never really watched it in its entirety. And I got the gist of it. My father-in-law loves the movie. My dad loves the movie. So that's a big dad movie. I feel like Chevy Chase is like a big actor. Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, maybe Steve Martin, of a little bit older age. But that's like right in our dad's generation there. So those are their guys. They're Adam Sandler's, they're Will Ferrell's, if you will, there. So I would hear, all these jokes and like the bits and everything, every Christmas. So, but I think this is going to be in my rewatch list here. It's always the Home Alones, it's always the Santa Claus, A Christmas Story on Christmas Eve. Yeah, we've worked in the newer movie The Night Before with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Falcon. Why can't I remember his name? But that actor,
Anthony Mackie.
Thank you. Yes, which is great. I think that's a great newer Christmas movie. But now, I think having some of the old school ones, like you said, it does kind of have like a early 90s young Christmas type of feel for us.
Yeah, I in Christmas, I don't know. We set a list for October, but I don't think we're going to be doing that this time around.
Mhm.
But Christmas Stories one too. I know we was it last year that we had the Christmas Story sequel come out.
We did, yeah, and that wasn't too bad.
Oh, wasn't too bad.
Wasn't too bad.
We had terrible expectations for it. I mean,
Yes.
there's the Home Alone return, which I believe was the year before. I think
Mhm. And
River
that was bad.
that was terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did not
The
do
bright
good.
spot of that was Buzz having a 2-second cameo.
That's right. Yeah, that's all anyone was talking about.
Yeah.
Um, is there one moment or bit from this movie that hits home most for you?
Um,
Relatable or something that like maybe is like you get secondhand embarrassment, secondhand cringe from watching?
okay, so the cat creating problems around the Christmas tree is like the most relatable thing for me, like from like life experience, because
Yeah.
I grew up with a cat, have a cat, so I know what that's all about. But the one now that, and I think this is why this I appreciated this movie more, and I think this is also why dads like this movie so much because like my dad too, he's the one that introduced me to this movie. The idea of hosting a family for a holiday.
Hmm.
We're like, I don't know if you've had to do it yet, but I know like just in the scheme of life, neither of us are far from it if you haven't done it already. And it's just like, oh goodness, like I want an easy holiday, man. I don't want any like I don't want Christmas or Thanksgiving. No, like give me like 4th of July or something.
Those are high expectations. The Christmases, the Thanksgivings, the Easters, right? Those are like the three, kind of like the holy trinity of big holidays there, right? The Mount Rushmore, if you will, if you want to throw another one on there.
Mm,
But yeah, no, so we've done like, we had our child christened not too long ago, so we had people over for that. We've had hot Christmas parties in the past that we've hosted,
sure.
but
Yep.
not where it's just kind of like finger foods and appetizers and booze. But
Hmm.
when you have your family coming over and suddenly that's something I look forward to. I'm very much like Clark Griswold with like wanting to have the wholesome, Norman Rockwell type Christmas. Like that's definitely me. Um, so I'm looking forward to that moment, and that does bring me a lot of anxiety.
Okay. Yeah.
The turkey, Nick,
Dude. Yeah.
overcooking the turkey, like
Yeah.
that's the nightmare.
I think as a kid, I didn't like get it either with the turkey thing. I was like, wait, what the fuck just happened to that? And it's like, oh, it dried out because that's a fucking thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, thank you. And then it's even that would be an even bigger deal on Thanksgiving. So no, you know what? Another one I might consider too, putting up for is New Year's because I know it's a late night and everything, but when you
Hmm.
talk about finger food and stuff like that, like there's a lot. It's a lot more. The expectations are not the same for the food there.
No, but it's the good time that you want for the New Year's, right? You want to
Yep.
make sure that everyone who's coming alone maybe has an opportunity to get that New Year's Eve kiss. You want to make sure they have a magical moment, things like that.
But less
Uh,
stressful for me by
for
far.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I think if you're having everyone's not really. It's on a pedestal. Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then maybe Easter's in that tier two there.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say 4th of July is too far from Easter in that tier 2, but I think it's easier to
No, I
manage.
agree. I agree. Fourth of
But
July for
but
sure.
you can just make hot dogs and hamburgers, so it
Yeah,
makes
and it's
it
beers and stuff like that, right? Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
much easier in that regard. But what about you? What's your most relatable bit from this?
Well, certainly the having the family over for a holiday. I agree with that completely. And then the other one is the Christmas lights, which I feel like is the obvious answer for so
Oh
many
yeah,
people, right? Like I think I said last week that I was putting up the icicle lights over the gutters there, and I have the ladder out, and the postman comes up to drop off the mail, and he's like, "You're not going to Clark Griswold it, right?" And I was like, "No, I hope not this year. That was me last year." And that was the case. And it's like I get that.
yeah,
And Clark's problem is that he brings everybody out to show it for the first time when he's plugging in all the lights or the final string of lights. You got to do that beforehand to make sure that it works. So then you're not under delivering when you bring the family out into the cold.
Clark Griswold is the king of cart. Was it cart before the horse?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
he does the same
Absolutely.
thing with the bonus, and that friggin' killed me, man. It still kills me. I know what happens. It's still like, what's the fucking matter with you, dude?
Mm-hmm.
You don't do shit like that. Come on.
Have you been at a job where they've given out bonuses?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. I've been at it before, and at like smaller companies, and you're just not sure if it's going to be there. You're hoping it does. You are kind of sweating it out, or it's like, oh, is it going to be the same as last year? Do I bank on it? I'm not going to write checks that I can't be cashed yet,
Yeah,
like
it's. I
Clark.
mean,
But you
I
are kind of like banking on it for a little bit.
I try not to. It's like you
Yeah.
have what you have, and then if you get that, that's great. But like that is you can apply that to spots elsewhere afterwards, then get yourself something nice too. But like buying a fucking pool like that back in the
hmm
day, what is the you're not trying to get a pool, by the way, right?
No, no, no.
No.
It wouldn't work in our backyard here. I would like a pool
Okay.
at some point, maybe at the next house when we size up there. But yeah,
hmm Okay. I just
no,
made as I was watching this, I was like, I can't remember if Wes was wanted to have one or not. But anyway,
I'd like what the insurance is crazy, and it's like you think about it now, like even like something like a trampoline, like is nuts when you think about kids and like
yeah.
the liability that brings. Like I
Oh,
would
there's a
never have a trampoline, but like I also don't want a diving board.
yeah. No, you never see a diving board anymore. Like for
Mm-mm.
pools, I'm trying to think when like the last time I feel like it was like a UMass Dartmouth camp, like in their like pool. Like
Sure, yeah,
that's
yeah,
the last
yeah.
time I saw one. It's crazy.
Yeah, you don't really see them all that often there, but I'm on board with the pools. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of upkeep.
That's so that like that I to me the that belongs in a certain. I'm going to put this in a category for later, and I'll offer because that applies there. Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
We'll go on to the next question. Where does this rank among other National Lampoon movies that you may or may not have watched?
Yeah, I think so. They have two vacation movies. The Vegas Vacation is the other one. Is that what it is?
Vegas, they have the original one, National Lampoon's Vacation. They have European Vacation, and then this was the third one, Christmas Vacation.
I think I've seen the original one, and then
hmm
I've seen and then there's Van Wilder.
hmm
I've never seen anything besides this one more than once, and maybe that like I should change that. But like, so this is like an easy number one for me.
Vegas Vacation is up there. I haven't watched. Actually, no, I have seen kind of like with Christmas Vacation. I've seen good portions of National Lampoon's Vacation, the first one, to kind of get the idea of it.
Gotcha.
He's driving. He gets highway hypnosis. He sees the girl next to him who keeps coming back. The pretty girl, which is a theme that gets played up and picked up again
hmm
at the shopping mall a little bit earlier in this movie. But yeah, so I get some of those things, but I haven't watched it in its entirety. I have watched multiple times Vegas Vacation, and I love that movie. Papa Giorgio. Papa Giorgio is great. Or Wayne Newton is seducing Beverly D'Angelo, and it's like that's a great bit. I'll be making pasta. It's very very funny stuff. And Van Wilder's good. That hits my youth.
hmm
Um, Little known fact. I don't know if you know this comedian. He's kind of well known. Not my personal favorite, but Bert Kreischer.
No, not familiar with that name.
Yeah, so he's a guy. He's a big, hairy, fat guy who takes his shirt off. He does like sells out stadiums. He's huge. He just had a movie come out about the Machine, kind of recently, within the past year.
Okay.
But that movie, Van Wilder, is based on Bert Kreischer.
Really?
Bert Kreischer had a story written about him in Rolling Stone magazine as like the Ryan Reynolds character, pretty much, and that he was like that guy.
Huh.
Yeah,
Wow.
it took place. He went to Florida State.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes that part is not surprising.
Yeah, but I thought that was I didn't know that until after I'd heard of Bert Kreischer, and I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting story.
That is wow. Huh.
He's insufferable, though.
Is he?
That's just my 2 cents.
Okay. Not
He's
familiar
very
with it.
popular, but that's just me.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is probably number one for me right now because
Okay.
I won't go back. I won't go back and watch Vegas Vacation. I don't really have any need or desire to go back and watch Van Wilder. This one specifically because of the holiday element will keep me coming back year after year. I think.
Yeah, I tend to feel the same way. Maybe like randomly Van Wilder, but I'm not going to think of it outside of like thinking of Christmas Vacation. Like, oh,
Yeah.
National Lampoon. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll go back. But I mean, I don't
It's
know.
more of like a spin-off, It's like, the American Pie spin-offs. They just like bought the rights to the American Pie name, but they got all new actors. It's direct to DVD type movies.
hmm
That's kind of the idea that I got with Van Wilder. I know it was released in theaters, but it's like an offshoot. They're just using the National Lampoon's branding.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I don't. I love Ryan Reynolds, but I just don't know if we'll ever do that. But
Yeah,
anyways,
he'll be disappointed, I'm sure.
prob-
What was the most rewatchable scene for you?
you know what made me laugh out loud the most was probably I just completely forgot this was a thing. Aunt Bethany,
Yes.
who
Oh
shows up
yeah.
way late, where she starts. I know she sings the national anthem at the end of it, and I did remember that, but I
Hmm.
forgot that she said the Pledge of Allegiance instead of saying grace at the dinner table,
Yep.
and I like laughed out loud at that moment, and I was kind of stunned by myself.
She's great. She's coming off the bench like Jamal Crawford, like she's just lighting it up, crossing people over left and right there. So she comes in at a very late part of the movie and makes a lot of damage. She's kind of like a closer.
Yeah, she really was. She really was. I think and outside of that too, the everything with like related to the lights too. It's and not for the reason of like you where it's relatable for you. I'm just
Hmm.
like this is why I never want to fucking do this because I feel like I would lose my mind. I'm just getting mad like thinking about all the hassle that comes with it. I put up lights a bunch when I was a kid, but my
Hmm.
grandparents got older and they because they live right nearby and they just stopped putting up as much stuff. And then my parents started to be like, you know what? We don't want to do this. So it's my dad thought that. So we
Yeah.
didn't do it. Like indoor stuff, go all out. I'm totally down with that. Outdoor stuff, not as much.
Now, see, I think it's a bit of perseverance, and it's not about me. I want the neighborhood to have holiday cheer. I want
Mm,
the kids to come back and see the lights on. So it's like I get it's a complete pain in the ass. But it's you do it for the memories.
you're a
You do it for the
hero.
story.
You know that?
I'm just
You're,
trying to be a regular old Clark.
look at you. Yeah. Impressive.
But speaking of that, the mall lingerie scene, ending with Rusty say, he's like, see, there's no, the line doesn't show, Rusty.
Yeah. That was
All that stuff. He's like, it's a bit nipply. It's nipple, my nips, and it's just like choking over his words. That's a classic Chevy Chase to me. That whole scene,
yeah.
it's like a microcosm for like who he was as a comedian, or a comedic actor.
It's really
Um,
impressive, like, because it all feels so natural the way that he does it. It really is remarkable.
And she's kind of feeding into it. Of course, she's trying to get the sale, but she's not like turned off by it. She finds it charming.
Yeah, that's
It
you know
works.
what's funny is I remember as soon as the scene came up, I was like, I remember this from when I was a kid, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
like, huh, that's funny. She seemed way more about it when I was a kid than she does as I'm rewatching this. Like she
She's
eventually
kind of playing along with it, right? Yeah.
yes, yeah, eventually she really leans in and like it now it's like, is she into it? Or is she just like really playing into it? But it took longer than I remembered it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's like,
How
"Yeah,
that
my
worked.
wife died, but I'm buying her lingerie."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All this,
She didn't
it's
die.
great.
She's just, we got divorced, and she never
Yeah.
wears underwear. So
And he's like wiping his face with the panties. Like it's
mhm,
great stuff. Um,
yeah.
the Cousin Eddie's best line of the whole movie when he's emptying out his RV's septic tank there, and he says, "Shitter's full. Merry Christmas" to the yuppie neighbors, and he's
Yeah.
yelling it to Clark there. That whole scene's great, and like, I mean, Clark and Chevy Chase is just so good because he's got this like dry, pessimistic, like jaded outlook, like he's kind of been beaten down in life, but he's still optimistic for some reason. But he
Yep.
just makes these like deadpan remarks, like, "Oh, I'm just looking at Eddie and his, in his bathrobe there, just entering his RV into our sewer."
Yep.
Yeah, just like very casually says all that stuff, so
Yep.
it,
Which
it pulls off perfectly.
yeah, like when Eddie shows up too, she's like says Eddie like 5 times too. Like, Eddie?
Yeah.
Eddie? But yeah, it's in that is the whole movie though. It's just like he's a beaten down man who's just trying to support his family and try and give them this like amazing Christmas after years and years of not getting the Christmas that he wants. He's like, fuck this, I'm gonna take it on and I'm gonna win. And he kind
Hmm.
of does.
He kind of does. He loses a lot there, and it's particularly after he finds out that he's not getting the Christmas bonus. I
Mm,
mean, you put the nail on the head there, putting the cart before the horse. Not only with the down payment on the pool, but then he goes one step further and tells him when he thinks he has the check before he's opened the envelope that he one put too much down, and his account doesn't have the money, and all this stuff that he's been holding inside for however long. He just lets it all out, and then he gets a 1 year subscription to a monthly jam club.
which is just like what the fuck? That's like,
Yeah.
and I get it. And you've been getting a bonus for 17 years. I understand that. That's like I get the level of expectation, but this again, like this is next level for me. I understand if you want like mentally are expecting it and mentally banking on it, but he's actually like put himself in a terrible spot where he
Oh
fucking
yeah,
needs that shit. That's next level, and like and that's like just that's remarkably irresponsible and stupid.
yeah, incredibly stupid, but also very, very dick move not to give out the bonuses and then not tell anyone about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been doing when you, especially when you've been doing it for 17 years, like if
Right.
you like, there's and back then too, it wasn't like now where like there can be other things that influence like the size of a bonus and like
Well, yeah,
that
I
part.
wonder what the bonus was. It
Yeah,
was 7,400 or whatever it was like a $7,000 for the down payment on the pool. But then he's talking about covering the down payment as well as, whatever else that needs to kind of finish the job, and then flying out his family to open it up after with
yeah,
whatever's left
Y-
over. And I'm like,
yeah.
what? How much is this?
Icing on the cake that I'll fly you all out here. Shut up, you moron. And also, like under the radar and all that fucking shit is, oh hey, I had to I wrote the check without there being enough money in the bank, so like he
Yes.
overdrafted on the check.
Yep.
What?
And you probably told the pool guy, he's like, hey, listen, don't cash this until the new year or something like
Yeah.
that. But here, this is what we got. So I don't know how exactly that works. Maybe it's not really a down payment then if they can't cash it. I don't know.
I don't know, but like that's just next level. Just if you're asking for it. But
Yeah,
anyway,
no.
yeah.
He's definitely skating on thin ice there for sure. Yeah, and I think that's just about it. Those are some of the memorable, most rewatchable scenes. I think the Christmas dinner scene is great when they're around the table. Of course, that's kind of like the cliche moment, like you mentioned before, with the turkey kind of exploding, imploding. I don't know how you want to
Yeah.
describe that.
Mm.
But yes, that's certainly a good one. What do you think aged the best from this movie, though?
So we have some casting stuff that I think is really
Mm-hmm.
interesting that we'll get
Mm-hmm.
into in a second. But the one for me that really like carried this movie in a lot of ways is this movie like becoming something of a period piece. And I
Mm-hmm.
know most of the time those are like intentionally done and they're more like drama in some way, shape, or form.
Oh
But
no, but like the Christmas Story is definitely a
yep,
period piece,
this
and
is
that
very
and that
true.
holds up for another generation. Probably for like Clark was probably Ralphie, in that movie.
Yeah, but Christmas Story, what that was in that one also came out in the 80s, if
The
I'm
80s or 90s. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, 1983. So there you go. But it's set like in the 60s or something
Mm-hmm.
to that end. So with that being the case, it's like that was intentionally done as a period piece. This is supposed to be like in the here and now when this movie came out, and it's aged so well in that like that's part of why I want to add it to the rotation. It's like my personally like this wasn't what my Christmas was like, but as a kid, but it feels
I
very
hope no one
similar.
has a Christmas like that.
Very true, but it feels similar. Like there's things that are relatable with this
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah,
a kid,
absolutely.
and I guess then also now like that we're adults and like we're gonna have children of our own, and you already do, and so on. It's like, well, if we do, like, it's I can't imagine like if I had to fucking host Christmas, what it would turn into. So there's just so much there, and then again, the era that it's from, it's all very well represented. For me, like the movie itself ages so well because it's just done such a good job representing a specific period of time.
Yeah, and I think what we talk about all the times with the Pixar movies is how they're able to capture an entire audience of multiple age groups, right? And appeal to the parents who are taking the kids, and then the kids who it's mainly for, right? So this is like for Saturday Night Live fans who are probably in their mid-20s, but also with their families too. So you can show it with your dad,
Mm.
when you're home for the holidays or something like that. Or it's not so crass where you can't show your, I don't know, 10-year-old, 11-year-old son or something like 10, kids of a certain age where you can kind of share it all together.
Yeah, the only thing that is at all like dodgy is the stuff with the mall employees.
Yeah, yeah, and there's some language there, but it's nothing
Well,
like
okay, yeah, sorry.
there's
Yeah,
nothing like bad about it though, There's nothing really too crass about it.
I just don't think about the language one ever quite as much because I also know when we were like in fourth grade, it was like, we knew all these words by then.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
But
exactly.
anyways, that was the big one for me. You have
Hmm.
more actors and whatnot listed off. I have one myself, but I want you to lead the way here, of
Well,
course.
yeah, we had Rusty, who later played in The Big Bang Theory. Later, Johnny Galecki. Didn't know that. I didn't watch that show, but
He's
I
Leonard for
forgot that.
everybody at home. I
Hmm.
mean, you can figure it out when you know it's like one of the main characters. I was blown away. I never knew that because I watch this and think of Juliette Lewis, and it's like, oh
Hmm.
shit! Like, my first memory of Juliette Lewis, I think, it's not her most memorable role, but it's Starsky and Hutch,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
opposite Vince Vaughn. But like,
I was thinking Old School. She's in that too. Yeah.
she's in Old School as well
Small
too.
role. Yep.
Yeah, so those are what I think of her first, but now I think of her as natural born killers,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
with Woody, and then she's also in Yellow Jackets, which I still have yet to watch, but obviously that's been a pretty popular movie too, or show, excuse me.
Hmm.
So yeah, those are two like remarkable ones. Their careers, yeah, definitely. They definitely took on some bigger roles later.
Yeah, and I just loved Beverly D'Angelo. I think she's a delight. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to disrespect the woman or anything, but like, what a milf, you know, what a
she does
milf.
look good, and yeah, she does look good.
But she puts the mother in milf. You know what I mean? She has like this like motherly, like I don't know, like aura about her, which
Yeah,
we'll come and get into a little bit later. But she has this way of just kind of like going where the wind of the situation takes her and making the best out of it.
you mean like when she finds out what Clark did with the fucking bank account, like with the check of the money that they don't
She
have,
doesn't even question about it,
she like flinches, and then the camera like pans to her like for a second, and it's like,
Yeah.
what? And then she just kind of moves on with it and like lets it go. But
Well, yeah, and Clark is really like can be unbearable. He's kind of a loser. He's kind of like a dumpy guy, but and
mm,
she's like so well put together, and she's like very loyal.
mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
she's never annoyed by him. She just kind of rolls her eyes, but is still always by his side too, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Doris Roberts went on to Everyone Loves Raymond, and of course, Grandma's Boy fame. So she was Grandma.
Yep.
Uh,
She's something else.
we talked about this a little bit already. Chevy Chase's asshole, sarcastic humor. Again, this movie, Fletch and Caddyshack. That's probably again the holy trinity of Chevy Chase movies. There that kind of encapsulate his whole comedic demeanor.
Fletch. I loved Fletch. I haven't watched it in a long time. I watched it in college, but I really
Hmm.
enjoyed it. My dad got it for me like as a thing for like watch this at some point in college. I should have gotten it for you, and I never did, or showed you to, and I never did, and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. But yeah, I remember
Yeah, I
loving
mean
it.
that's another one. The father-in-law loves that movie. It might be his favorite movie.
Oh,
But Clark's idyllic and wholesome family outlook, right? So I find that to be very charming. Like we already mentioned, he's still beaten down. He's still kind of like that working class guy who's beaten down by family and life and all that stuff, kids, job. But he still has a good outlook on everything, and so I appreciate that. Where in a humor movie or in a comedy movie, even if it's a Christmas movie, I'm thinking of like Bad Santa, for example. There is a universe where this could take more of like a darker turn, and
sure.
he's like not as idealistic as he is.
Yeah, yeah. That could be funny too. But yes, I agree.
Right, right. So I like that too. So again, that kind of brings in the wholesome family fun to to your point, I think, kind of makes it hold up as kind of timeless.
Hmm.
What do you think is going to age the worst from this movie?
Well, what has aged the worst is Randy Quaid. There's been a lot that's gone on with him over the years. See, I was like, because I know Chevy Chase is. You could also say something for him in different ways.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, for Randy Quaid, didn't something? He kind of fell off the map or something, and then I looked it up, and it's like, no, he's got a pretty long rap sheet. I was like, what is this shit?
Because I was going when you put that on the list, I was like, wait, I knew something happened to him, but I was like, what happened? So I was pulled up his Wikipedia, and like he was on the run from the law, like
Yeah.
from the government. I think
Yes, like
two different governments for a while, the
yeah.
Canadian and the American government.
Yeah, before he was, I didn't see that he was on the run from Canada, but I saw that he sought asylum in Canada from
Yeah, but I
America.
think he was pissing them off. I think he wasn't doing the necessary protocols to seek asylum in Canada or something like that. Yeah.
just he basically Randy Quaid actually like went full method and became Eddie the rest of his life.
Yeah, Eddie or the crop pilot from Independence Day. Hello, boys, I'm back.
That's right. That's right. The other one, and this is why I asked you before about the pool stuff. The idea of having a pool. Personally, as a kid, I was always like, yeah, of course I would love to have a pool. Never had one. Had an
Hmm.
uncle who had one. And I was like, this is so cool, everything like that. But as I've gotten older and had a family friend who had one too, and learning from him, especially like the level of maintenance, because you alluded to
Hmm.
that before. She's like, I don't think I'm ever gonna want to have a pool. Like it seems like a lot of work outside.
I agree. My father has a pool. My father-in-law has a pool. This is a common
Oh
theme. I'm bringing both of them up
wow.
there, so they have to deal with it all the time. So it's like, getting it ready, getting it prepped, any sort of, again, maintenance or work after a certain amount of years. If the lining cracks, God forbid,
Oh jeez.
all that's, and then just like the risk of injury. If you have kids running around the pool, you got to have a fence in. Larry David taught us that, and in some counties that's necessary. Um, but yeah, all that stuff is nice. And I think the interesting question is, because these are kind of in the same idea. Would you rather have a pool or have a boat? Because both of these things probably fall under the umbrella of, like, you'd rather have a friend who has a boat or a pool.
I think I'd rather have. You know what? If you asked me that like 2 years ago or something, maybe I probably would no question say pool. Like I would have always said pool. But I don't
Hmm.
know. I feel like if I had a boat, like I could enjoy it. But at the same time, I really, really have no desire to have either.
See, I
So
think I would rather have a boat than a pool.
yeah,
Mm.
I think yeah, because like it can be like a relaxing thing that you do by yourself and whatnot, but they both are a lot of friggin' work.
Some of the one of my favorite pastimes recently is going on Facebook Marketplace and looking at boats for sale and finding out, like, what can I get on the cheap and what can I figure out how to fix on my own.
Hmm, okay, I'll tell you
And most of it's outrageous.
what I always wanted because I had like a relative who like I would see in the summer and stuff who had a jet ski. Those were
Yes.
oh
Well,
man,
that's what I was just gonna say. I think that's a much easier one. It's cheaper, right? You get a pair of jet skis. But two, the maintenance on that is crazy. All you have to need, you can actually get covers for it. You don't have to get your boat shrink wrapped or anything, or your jet ski shrink wrapped. So you can just kind of store them in your backyard.
you have to get your boat shrink wrapped and stuff in the off
Yeah,
season.
yeah, to get it winterized. Yeah, you'll
Oh
see a lot of boats like
jeez.
that with, like, it's like white plastic that goes around the top of the boat and, like, around all the sails or the
Oh,
glass if you don't have sails.
I think
And
I know
it's
what you're
just to
talking about
kind
now.
of keep all the cold air and snow and everything like that from the
Actually,
fiberglass.
now that I'm thinking about it, if especially if I'm like if we're talking boats that like you use it out on like open water, we're not talking like rivers and stuff like that, then I'd absolutely do a pool. Like I can't like I get I'm like terrified of the water. Like it's just
Are you? I didn't know that.
oh dude, so when we were on our
Find
honeymoon,
something out new.
real quick aside, and I
Hmm.
think you appreciate this. When we were on the honeymoon, we found out this crazy deal for like a day cruise that was like a stupid price that included lunch in the cost and like alcohol was included in like
Hmm.
the bill and everything like that. And then they took us around the island and everything, and you got to
Okay.
swim in the water there. So I was like, we're swimming in the Aegean Sea. It's like I mean, I got to try this out, but
Yeah.
I was so terrified that I was checking the night before once Lauren fell asleep, like how often do shark attacks happen in the Aegean Sea?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
putting it in your head. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was like, I absolutely like, but guess what? I got it. I went in, but the three every time we stopped to go in the water, I did it because I was like, the first time because I loved doing it as a kid, but just as
Yep.
I got older, I'm just like, oh man, I just
That's big media getting just pushing Shark Week and all these shark attacks on the Cape and all this stuff now.
yeah.
Because they tag all these sharks so they know where they all are at all times.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
know what I mean? So, like, before they never had that technology, so you wouldn't know it, so you wouldn't hear about it as much.
I
Because
well,
shark attacks don't really happen all that often.
no, I feel
But
like it's
shark sightings happen
mm,
often.
it's well, I saw one shark sighting where probably was on Twitter because now with the way Twitter is, I see so much random freaking shit on there.
Yep.
There was one time where it was like it was like extremely close to land. Like we're talking like it was like if it moved in any closer, it would have been on the sand.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it just swam through a bunch of people who were like just standing, like not even waist high in the water.
I think I might have seen that one actually.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
When I
Yeah.
saw that, I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck is
Mm-hmm.
this shit? How can that happen? Like, I'm never going in again. And then I went in the water when we were in the Aegean.
It
So.
was probably a dogfish or something like that. It's probably not a great white.
Yeah, I mean that would make more sense that it wasn't a great white. But anyways,
No, I agree.
I'm back on the pool side. Back on
Yes.
team pool.
Okay. So back on the pool. You got Randy Quaid aging the worst. I have Chevy Chase, and I'm not sure if this is warranted. You know, he's always because I'm not sure if he's aged the worst. He's always kind of had like an asshole mentality to him or a reputation going back to his SNL days.
That's
I
true.
think a lot of people didn't like. I think that's just kind of who he is. But I do, you know, his time at Community. I think he wasn't very well liked by much of his castmates.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like if you're like a jerk back in what was it? It would have been the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
I mean, if you're still that kind of jerk, there's a lot of stuff that probably doesn't age as well, which we
Oh,
know
yeah.
we've heard that kind of stuff. So yeah, like that. I agree that maybe he's always kind of been an a-hole, but it seems like it's not aged as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I did not like the back and forth on the road with the trucks to open the movie when they're going out for what is that? When they're going to pick up the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I did not like that at all. That I almost feel like you could have done without that. Like that scene kind of.
Oh, you didn't like it because you thought it wasn't good.
No, it was fine. It gave me anxiety.
Oh
But I
yeah.
almost feel like that kind of sticks out as an oddity, and that like I'm not sure if that really adds to the rest of the story that's happening.
Oh, it doesn't. I think it's a tone setter though.
Yeah.
The stuff with the way they get stuck under the truck is something else. But again,
That's crazy. And then they ended up, reusing that in the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah. It all plays together in like within the scene. But yeah, it's a good. I thought it was a good way of establishing this is Clark Griswold. For those who don't know who he is, this is the clown that you're dealing with. So
yeah, absolutely. Cutting down your own tree, that doesn't really happen anymore. I'm not sure if that was ever really a thing.
I don't know why you do that.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, it's about the experience.
I guess so. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah.
I'm actually just speaking on experience here. I'm just completely out on real trees. Just I don't want any problem with it.
You're
buy the pre-lit fake trees.
Yeah, I mean, when I get a house, I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind. But I've been since I've been getting my own trees. It's been fake because
you can't. Yeah, it's a lot there. Buy the candles, the evergreen candles, and get the fake tree, and then it's the same thing.
Yep.
Being able to live on one person's salary and afford Clark's house and a pool in suburban Chicago.
Yeah, no way. No,
that's kind of like a Home Alone type situation.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, like how before watching this, like remember when it used to be that you could just live on one person's salary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's nuts, right? And it's I mean, you're probably more familiar with the suburbs of Chicago than I am, right? I mean, those are some of the richest in the nation, I'm sure.
Yeah, no friggin' way, man. I've seen the McAllister's house in person, like in that, like that. I don't and now thinking about how all the housing prices and everything, how much that shit's changed, I can't imagine. Like,
yeah, I don't know if it was from 2021 to 2022 or 22 to 23, but I saw some tweet actually today that was talking about the property taxes of the McAllister house.
Oh,
doubled. So it was 20, whatever year it was. The first, the previous year was 23,000 in property taxes. And it more than doubled to $50,000. $50,000 in property taxes.
Because of the movie?
No, just because property taxes raised, just because of life.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's
which is nuts. That's like $50,000. I don't know. Maybe I'm showing my class here or lack thereof.
No, that's a lot of. I think it's a lot of money to anybody. But I will say, everybody that I knew, pretty much everybody that I knew that was from like and I had a lot of teammates that were from like the suburbs of Chicago. Like the parents did all right for themselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's also crazy. That's one of those things that, like, what does he actually do? He's just like takes out the nutrition on chips or something like that. Like,
Yeah. Put in like an additive or something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's actually probably a candidate too. Like, what is like Clark being praised for putting a new additive in food?
Yeah, that's not good, right? That's
Yep.
not good there. Who had the best performance by a side character?
It's between Eddie and cousin Eddie and Aunt Bethany.
Yeah, and I think it's cousin Eddie here. He's the most memorable one.
Yeah.
He's kind of has the cachet there. He definitely brings more of the comedic relief when things start to go south for Clark there. But I won't discount Aunt Bethany and her husband, who I'm blanking on the name there. But those two back and forth, and then he's just a real, he really gets things going.
Yeah.
The uncle there, because he sets it off with setting the tree on fire, and then he has the explosion outside after the sewer. So he's the cause of a lot of Clark's problems there. So I kind of liked him kind of being the MacGuffin.
Why do I keep wanting to say it's Lewis? I wanted to say
Lewis.
Leo.
Yeah.
But he was like, 'cause he's like every time, like it's like, you're being a burden. Like he's the actual burden, but he keeps making like Clark seem like he's the problem in every way. Yeah, he was. You're right. He is something else too. It's definitely those three.
But yeah, Eddie's great. Aunt Bethany wrapping up the cat and then wrapping up the Jello mix, like all that stuff. Like that's just funny to me.
Friggin' Eddie with his dog too. We call him Snots because he's got like some sinus condition. Like it's funny too because like now it's like again, being older and us watching so many movies because of what we do, but like the dog looks totally fine for 1 second. Then as soon as he starts talking about Snot's name, he's like covered in mucus. Where the fuck did that all come from?
Yeah, and he's like, it's just best to let him finish. Like I forget what he said that he had, like the condition that he had, but it's like the dog like humps his leg.
Yep.
But there's like a word that or a phrase that he uses, which is funny. And he's like, and it's best just to let him finish.
And he also like there's that you'll never see another unit on a dog like that. Something to that effect. Like what the fuck? Wait, on a random like cousin Eddie, was it the Johnsons? On that note, before we get into our last two categories, a little thing that popped up that I never noticed until now was just like would never happen today, but it was like it was like what the fuck was when all the cops swarm on the family to go in and save Bill Murray's brother, the boss.
Yeah.
That
is Bill Murray's brother. I was going to say that looked like an older Bill Murray.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's
oh, that's funny.
Bill.
That's confirmation then.
Yeah, Brian Doyle Murray. So maybe they're half brothers. I don't know.
That's cool.
But yeah, he's in Caddyshack. But anyways, so he when the wife comes in to like identify which one's her husband and stuff, and all the cops have swarmed and holding everybody at gunpoint. Yeah. When Murray turns and then you see cousin Eddie's kids behind him, one of the fucking cops is holding the daughter at gunpoint.
I did not notice that. What the fuck
is this shit?
I mean, it's definitely excessive. They're scaling the house and like doing rappels from the chimney down into the windows and like and everything.
Completely excessive. But like then it's like, oh, you thought we went too far with this shit? Well, how about this as the last one? And I never noticed it in the few times that I've seen it.
I got a little chuckle. This is kind of a dumb joke, but when the chief or whatever, the lead sergeant comes in, he's like, everyone freeze. And then he turns around and goes, not you, get him. And he's like, all his force thought that he was telling them to freeze. And it's like, all right, that's so stupid.
What the fuck? And also, not to get lost in all that too, is where Ellen is holding Clark's package in the course of all that too.
Yeah.
Did not notice that the first time I watched. Definitely the second time around.
Like her crotch? Like his crotch?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't recognize that.
Yeah, they're all I don't know if it's at first, because I always forget until the moment where she shakes the boss's hand. But when she does it, like it's very obvious that's what's happening.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Who lost the movie, Nick? Who lost the movie?
The Chesters, who are the neighbors, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I don't remember
the husband specifically.
Nicholas Guest. But Margot and Todd. He doesn't. Neither of them look great, but he definitely is the loser of the two.
Well, he couldn't talk to Clark Griswold because that whole relationship dynamic is funny because like Clark is constantly getting beaten down by the world. And then he kind of just takes it. And he doesn't really care about the yuppie couple there, the Chesters. But that guy appears to have some sort of status or some sort of power or good job or something like that. And for him to like pretty much cower to Clark.
Yeah. It's like
It's weird.
There are a few things where it does, like, I get you can't, what are you going to say? Like with the lights, like, what are you going to say? Like, you're going to,
Yeah.
and obviously with the icicle thing, you just, they don't even know. Like, how can you know?
But cutting the tree down,
the tree thing,
yeah,
like that's no. You gotta say something. And she's just like, I'm like the fact that Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Margot, has to go over and do it. Yeah, the edge would go to him if you pick between the two.
Yeah, I agree. I also think Clark loses here. Of course he ends up getting the keeping his job, keeping the family happy, getting the Christmas bonus, and in a way getting a memorable Christmas that he never really had, albeit not in the way that he wanted to. But with all the damage that was done to the house with the fire, whatever's would happen to his septic system, I don't know if that goes into the sewer and all that stuff. But the explosion outside of his house, the police raid, which knocked in all the windows, he's not going to be able to afford the pool. He's got so much house damage now. Like,
I was thinking that when I was rewatching it this time around, like
he just has all these other problems now.
Yeah,
it's like not even the joy of Christmas to like soften the blow. It's
100%. Yep. And also in that moment, I was like, this is so basically like it's all these miserable things that happen to us at Christmas time are okay because it's Christmas time. We're willing to accept these terrible things. That's what that's what the moral of the story is.
In the name of Saint Nick. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome. What else we got?
That's about it though for Who Lost the Movie. Who won the movie here? And this goes back to my love for Beverly D'Angelo, but Ellen.
Yeah.
She holds up through all of this. She again comes out like looking like she's unfazed by everything. Like there's not a cloud of, there's no dust on her shirt. She hasn't been she's going through the dirt with Clark the whole time. And she's right there, they're cleaning up the trash after Snots or whatever the dog's name is goes through it. Right. And they're saying like, then you got Uncle Lewis, bring me my stoves. And they're kind of just like getting shit on by their family. And instead of her being mad at Clark for forcing this issue of having the Christmas at their house, she's supporting him and is right there in the muck with him the whole time. But she comes out like with a lot of grace. I don't know. Maybe that's the only way I can put it.
She looks great, and she is like the best person, I guess is the best way to put it in this movie.
She has patience for everybody.
Yeah. I'm willing to give her the winner of this movie, but also you could argue that she's a loser because she's married to Clark, and it's like you could do so much.
My problems are your problems, that sort of thing, right? Yeah, and that absolutely. He definitely got a catch with Ellen there.
Yes,
the other winner is John Hughes, who of course wrote this movie. I have his IMDb pulled up here. Let me see if I can get his
that's a good call,
his acting or his writing credits at this time. So he's in the middle of a huge stretch here. So we have National Lampoon's Vacation in 1983, 16 Candles. This is everything that he's written. Okay, so 16 Candles, 1984. The Breakfast Club, 1985. European Vacation, also in 85. Weird Science, also in 85. Pretty in Pink, 86. Ferris Bueller's Day Off in 86. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in 87. Uncle Buck in 89. Christmas Vacation in 89. Home Alone, 1990. I mean, this is crazy. What else do we have? Anything else going up there? Beethoven, 92. Also in 92. Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of this like great stretch right now. It's like Kevin Durant years, that he's getting all NBAs. He's getting first teams. He's getting MVPs. And you're just kind of like right in the middle, right at the climb of his middle.
Yeah, and neither of them got a ring for their work either. Oh no, wait a minute. Kevin Durant had to cheat to do it.
He got it.
Yeah, he did. He didn't cheat. That's not fair. But anyways, that's John Hughes is a great one too. I think the nod for me goes to Ellen here, but I mean, right in the middle of an absolute heater, no question about it.
Yeah, but I'm a little partial, Ellen, she's a little easier on the eyes.
That's true.
Um, all right, I think that does it. So I gave Christmas Vacation an 87. Nick gave it an 81. That's CMM aggregate score of what, 83, 84, 84. I was right around it. So go check it out. It's available on Max right now, as well as a whole
Yeah.
bunch of other Christmas movies that just got added there. So if you're doing your holiday season rewatch like Nick and I are, that's a good place to start.
Yep. It's hard not to this time of year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you got to go through your Harry Potter rewatch too. That's also I got to
Naturally.
get that going too.
Yes. And Die
Uh,
Hard, all the Christmas classics.
And now we hope